pals, welcome back to the ANZ Pro League brought to you by Blizzard and Gamester. And we are just waiting for Abyssal Reef to get underway. Zoo just needs a second, so we're here to talk to you, to entertain you in the meantime, if you will. After this match, we will have Neon Violet Square, which could be the decider. Depends.
Could very well
what
be.
happens, but yeah, hopefully that will be a good match. I mean, Probe is a really strong Protoss, strongest player in Australia, arguably, in our region, our WCS region. Elusari is not a guy that I've seen play recently. I don't know if you've casted him in anything, Dan, but I don't think I've had the pleasure in maybe in early 2017.
I haven't had the pleasure to cast him recently, but I have seen him play in some of these community cups. I mean, if there's StarCraft on, I'm generally watching it and lurking in the shadows. And he's a player that's actually improved quite a bit. And another player like that was a Scarecrow, who's honestly just boggled my mind with how much better he's gotten at this game. A couple of up-and-coming players, I think. They've done great work in like adminning tournaments and being behind the scenes for many years, but they're actually giving players who I wouldn't expect to struggle against them a pretty hard time. I still feel like Probe is definitely going to win that game, but I'd love to see Illusory maybe make it tough with maybe an aggressive opening or something cheesy.
Yeah, and he certainly could. Sometimes I feel like I shortchange some of these players because I haven't seen them in a little while, and he certainly could put up a really good fight. It's hard to go past someone with as many achievements as Probe in that match, but we'll see what happens on Abyssal Reef. I mean, as we mentioned, Azure probably a little more favored, but I guess he's no scrub.
No, not at all. And I don't even care if Iaguz was playing Protoss. I'd still like to watch him play, and I still feel like he'd perform pretty well. He's a very talented StarCraft player, very talented strategy games player. He's a bright guy. But let's go through and introduce his opponent. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner, we're getting to crunch time in this match of Pro League. Playing for Team Legacy Esports, it's Azure.
And up in the top left, in the red trunks, representing OSC Elite, it's Iaguz. Otherwise known by some as the Guzzler.
The Guzzler, indeed. Oh, look at this. Azure not going for gas first. It's always fascinating to me after a patch how all the openings tend to diverge and go in separate ways than what it was before as new strategies get figured out, new ways to approach the game and tackle it happen from all sides, all races. But as a turn player myself, I'm always very excited to see how these guys adapt to a new patch and to potentially a new era of StarCraft. Do note as well that since StarCraft 2's gone free to play, the overall population of the 1v1 ladder has gone up. And the amount of games that are being played every day has risen dramatically, Zeph. I think it's up something like 58%. It's been really heartening to see. And if you guys are out there, maybe you don't play StarCraft, maybe you haven't bought it before, and you're kind of on the fence about giving it a try, it is completely free. All the multiplayer is. You can jump in, play unranked ladder, and get a pretty fair and even game after losing your first 10 games.
Yeah, and if you do play StarCraft, make sure you get your friends on that. Honestly, it's so fun. If you follow me on Twitter, I've been ranting a lot lately about getting my Guild Wars buddies to play. And it's really awesome because they've been playing team games like every night, and it just warms my cold nerd heart to see
I hear
that.
you've been doing God's work there, Zeph.
So yeah, get your friends in. It's a good time. Team games always fun. I mean, like, you've got all those different game modes as well. 1v1 is like the least of people's worries in a lot of cases. So it's a way of easing into it. And also watching streams like this and showcasing our local talent. It's been absolutely awesome. And hopefully some of the newer players pop in and check out their local scene as well.
And This is exactly what I expect from someone like Iaguz, to have the absolute perfect timing to come down and be as annoying as possible with his Zerglings. He knows just the precise second to strike. He's doing economic damage here just by forcing these SCVs off the line. Azure does defends pretty well, but that was definitely worth it for Iaguz. If not for the damage that he did, but then definitely for the psychological warfare.
Yeah. And we have this Ling speed kicking in just a little bit, followed up by the Overlord speed, which I've got to say has made a bit of a resurgence lately. A lot of people like getting this again. And it is helpful because with the strats changing, it's nice to be able to pop in that Terran base and not worry about your Overlord dying before you scout out what the tech is actually going to be. So here we see Azure has built himself a tech lab there, and the starport just finishing up so he can pop that on. And he's also grabbing himself some Hellions.
Without consulting with any pro Zerg players about this, I feel like the reason why we're going Overlord speed almost every game is because almost every Terran right now, at least that I see at the top of the ladder, is always opening up with a Viking, either as the first thing that comes out of the starport or the second. And so get a couple of Vikings out, get a bunch of Overlord kills. Now it's very difficult for Zerg to scout. And when both bio and mech play is so common in the meta right now, people are trying to figure it out. If Zerg doesn't know what's coming, very difficult for them to prepare because they are typically the reactionary race. They have to react to what their opponent is doing and then prepare effectively. But you can't do that without information.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. And at this point, Iaguz has made his first dip into that main base. He saw, okay, there's a starport. It's got the tech lab upgrading. So I got to be wary of Cloaked Banshees. We'll see if he drops himself some spores as he's not on the way to lair just yet. He's going to come back in to confirm that. What he hasn't seen just yet is that armory behind the mineral lines. But of course, that does indicate it's going to be mech. And if he has these Hellions alive, he has the opportunity to transform these, march in with a bunch of Hellbats, and hit with the Banshee in a different location at the same time.
Yeah, here we go, Zeph. The Hellions are getting ready for a run by, and it looks like they will try and speed around, but Iaguz has some Zerglings pop out at just the right time, and now in the main, here comes the drop. How many drones will be going down? Looks like just maybe 3 or 4, but the Hellion transform coming in just in the nick of time, and Iaguz is not focusing down that Medivac. And Azure doing a decent amount of damage. I'm liking this play from him quite a lot.
He is doing a good job. And sitting behind those mineral lines, making it really hard for Iaguz to go back to mining there because... Oh man, he even gets the queen. Ooh. These things will get roasted as well. He's having so much trouble cleaning this up. Now that the queens are coming up, he should be fine, but Azure could try and drop these somewhere else. Oh, well, down goes the medvac.
Iaguz finally focused down the medivac. Took him way too long. Here comes the Cloak Banshee, though. It's going to clean up a little bit more. Get a couple extra drone kills. Iaguz has been having a lot of trouble with saturation as well throughout all of that. So while he does have a lot of workers, he had basically a full mining base worth of saturation and then another one over here, which he needs to get back into the main. But look at this. So annoying with the Banshee. Doing a lot of damage. He will probably lose it. I don't think Azure was quite paying attention because over here, he's got those Hellions.
Yep, he's found some more spots to roast. You may see those lings and drones. And there goes the transform. One Hellion will go down the process, but these queens are not long for this world unless they have support from their buddies. He's targeting down with extra energy. He's actually doing such a great job with these Hellions and Hellbats. He's up to 17 workers killed. He's taken out 5 queens. This is going pretty well for Azure.
Yeah, man. Iaguz has been microing very poorly this game with his queens. I mean, there's really not much more to say about that. Another Banshee coming in here, cleaning up even more drones. And now we're up to 27 drones, and that hit was absolutely massive.
Oh, the humanity, these poor drones. The Lings finally come in to save the day. But we're now 35 workers killed. Poor Iaguz. Down to 45 drones. The 61 SCVs of Azure. Azure making his third base. And he's going to be feeling pretty comfortably, starting to flesh out that mech comp a little bit more. But that harass, that was just so good.
It was. Azure wasn't quite multitasking that perfectly, though. So I don't think Iaguz is down and out of this game just yet. He's got a chance. But if Azure was macroing and dealing with his economy perfectly throughout all of that, he'd already have this third base at the location. He'd already have those factories up and producing units. He'd be 20 or 30 supply up right now. So not particularly crisp play from him, but he did enough damage where he can be pretty confident that he's in a sizable lead.
Yeah, he's going to be feeling pretty comfy. He's got his upgrades coming down. Good old smart servos that lets you transform. Lightning speed, blue flame, mixing in some Vikings. And of course, having established that third now, going to be sitting pretty, adding in some tank. He's at the point where his production tab actually starts to sit under the nameplates with the default UI. So everything going right for him. He tries to dip in here to try and get a few more kills. But Lings make short work of those Hellions, or will eventually.
This was very sloppy by Azure, losing 12 supply for basically nothing, just a handful of Lings. That's definitely not what you want to do when you're ahead. I mean, if he was going to do that attack, he should have been trying to maybe multi-prong and do a secondary attack at the same time. I like this choice from him, though, to immediately go into that fourth base, because by the time this finishes, he'll be almost mined out of the main. I mean, that's getting pretty low now, Zeph, and the gas requirement for mech adds up very quickly. Now we come out with this double Thor drop. This is scary for a Zerg player. This can kill bases so incredibly quickly. And
it's super annoying to deal with. Now, luckily for Iaguz, he does have some Hydras coming out, so that helps with the anti-air if you can get close enough to the medevacs to snipe him and keep him away. But that's still a little ways off. And he float around the edge, see if he can maybe drop in the natural at the back. There's actually a nice pocket that he could drop there where it's sort of hard to get the units in there as well.
Well, I think this might work pretty well. It's going to pick up a queen kill, maybe a couple of drones if he focus fires, but he will want to get out of here pretty quickly, Zeph. He doesn't want to lose one of those medivacs. Oh man, that was ballsy. He's playing with fire there. And now over here in the third base, a huge run by of Hellions. And so many drones are going down right now. Up to 50 workers killed. The queen falls as well. Less lava for Iaguz, and Azure taking a commanding supply advantage.
Yeah, Azure doing such great work with the worker kills. The Thor drop comes in once again. The queens are helping out a lot here against the medevacs, but with Thor's able to freely fire on them, they're gonna get taken out. At the same time, it looks like Iaguz did try and do a bit of a backstab at the fourth base, causing Azure to lift the command center, something in his favor. He has managed to get his own fourth base up behind this and has still got a drone economy, but he's lost what? Almost 60 work game?
It's pretty brutal. 59 workers have been killed. Swarm Host now, the tech of choice from Iaguz. I feel like Swarm Host, especially in the current patch against these Hellions with smart servos, I feel like it's the wrong choice if you're already behind. It's a good way to secure a win if you're already ahead. Playing from behind, I'm not sure I'm convinced by this choice, but I'm not sure where else Iaguz can go. Infestors, not going to be that effective, won't come out in time to do much damage. He can maybe use these Swarm Hosts to buy himself some time, get that Hive tech, and maybe start looking for Brood Lords. That typically is the tech of choice later on now.
Yeah, I think going to Hive is maybe his best bet if he can make it there, because then you can start picking apart the army if you get some Vipers in the mix as well. But we'll see. He's actually started to get the creep spread out here a fair bit. That's help as Azure starts to move forward. He's sieging up his creep. There's the first round of Locusts, and they do almost nothing. He does get a couple of
Great focus fire. That was actually some very tactical micro from Iaguz to even be able to get a couple of tanks. The Thors, though, they're back here in the main. They might even be able to take out that Hydra Den if Iaguz is not careful. Meanwhile, a big push coming into the fifth base of Iaguz, cleaning that up straight away, and Azure can start pushing forward and getting into this very awkward position below this ramp.
And this is rough. Iaguz has a decent number of out in the field at the moment. But maybe he has to leverage the Swarm Host to really get in there, because it's tough. He's gonna, if he attacks into this army where Azure's got it positioned, he's coming through a choke no matter where he comes from. He's got to go down ramps to reach his army. He's going for it with the Locust. Is it going to pay off, though? Nice focus fire on these tanks. He gets 2 or 3 right away. And he's using the Hydras to DPS the buffer down. It looks like he will be able to break this.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Iaguz really showing some class with that micro once again. But he is losing pretty much everything back in his army. Those Hydras are falling very quickly. Iaguz, even though Swarm Hosts are in danger, so he does have to be very careful with those who have another round or another volley of Locusts to be able to launch them again pretty soon. But the Hellions coming through. A couple of these Swarm Hosts will be picked off. Azure needs the focus fire, though. He's even just kind of schizophrenic about this, going for a couple of the drones, but finally taking out more of these Swarm Hosts.
Oh my goodness. I didn't realize how much damage Swarm Hosts can actually take from those Hellions. We're now at 80 workers killed from Azure, and Iaguz has been pretty good at replacing them, don't get me wrong, but he's still kind of stuck on this lair tech, and Azure is just powering forward, continuing to rally his mech army straight to this 5th base location and keeping that pressure up, because he knows Iaguz is having trouble up with the amount of army that he's producing at the moment.
Oh, this siege up could even end the game right now, Zeph. There's no more Locusts and the drones are all dying. The Mana Mule comes out and Iaguz leaves without a GG once again.
Wow. Alrighty, well played by Azure. Very nicely done. And put another point up there on that scoreboard for Legacy. And having had Pig Jr. take the win in the last series, that puts them at a 2 match point. If pulls it out in the next map, OSC Elite is going to have a rough score so far in this tournament.
Oh, you've got to feel sorry for Illusory, don't you? I mean, going up against probably the best player in the entire tournament, honestly. It's a hard ask for Illusory to try and keep his team alive. He is going to give us his best shot. And what map is that going to be on, Zeph?
That map is going to be Neon Violet Square.
Oh, it's going to be a good setting for potentially the last game of the night.
Potentially. But let's hope we make it to Blackpink.
Let's hope we get there. I mean, if we do, it's going to be such a good storyline. And
sure.
I can imagine that the chat would go absolutely wild if we got there. So we'll take a quick break, guys. We'll go and set up that map. And we'll be right back at you in just a couple of minutes' time.
Excuse me.